congratulations with Sister Midnight.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I admire creating a character that regardless of everything going on in her surroundings, she always stood very confident.
Right. I mean, she's also kind of innocent in a strange way. So she's a lot of things at once, but that's great to hear.
So tell me about creating Uma.
Wow. I mean, she created herself. She sort of showed up somewhere in my psyche, and I couldn't quite get rid of her. I mean, there's a lot of me in her, which is funny. But I'm drawn to people who sort of run on their own logic and go against the grain, whether that's intentionally or unintentionally. And I'm drawn to misfits, so I always side with the underdog. And yeah, she was a lot of fun to create, and I always looked at her like a kind of jar of unstable plutonium who's hopefully a little more refined uh, to, explode at the end.
You had some really interesting scenes where there was a lot of it'd be like a lot of silence, but yet you as a director deliver that magic for us to know and feel what was going on. Can you talk a little bit about making that delivery to us?
Yeah, I mean, to me, film is a medium that relies on sound and vision, and that doesn't necessarily mean dialogue. You know, um, and I always believe the audience is not stupid, so we don't need to spoon feed them, and it's about cinematically delivering all the information in a way and trusting the audience. So much is said in life without words by just people's body language in a room, um, or sounds. And all those things, add up to something, the grammar of cinema for me. So it's my first protocol is always to do it in an audiovisual way to move something across. And then when you do have dialogue, there's got to be a real reason. And then it's like, little explosions in the silence, or the way poetry uses space between stanzas and verses.
And you even have one of the characters mention it, something about how silence, being comfortable with someone and silence is a good sign of a good relationship.
Yeah, I feel like that's the most on the nose thing I wrote in the film. I nearly cut that out, but thank you. Yeah.
No, I'm glad you left it because I was enjoying that. So a lot of
Oh,
times there's just so much going on with the dialogue. Sometimes it's just kind of all over the place, and then as a viewer, you just kind of like, okay, but yours, like, it's true. The silence can be something good too.
yeah. I mean, I think people fear silence, and maybe we've forgotten how to digest films because we're so used to dialogue on TV and shows, and it's all talking, talking, talking. But film's not theater.
Mhm.
And it's beautiful that it can display silence as a sort of tool.
We can't neglect the character of Nepal, who Uma says, "Are you either dumb or selfish?" And as I watched, I was just like, oh my gosh, I would just grab him and want to probably like try to strangle him to get reactions.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's like a lot of dudes, right? Like, he's not a bad guy. He's just kind of ill-equipped, and she's ill-equipped too. But she at least vocalizes it in some way, whereas he, like lots of men, retreat into their own silence. That's not a useful silence.
Yeah, like
But yeah, I
right.
think the guy who played him, Ashok, made him really wonderfully human, like and mysterious, and I think that's important.
Let's talk about the scene where Uma goes and she's just like these bracelets off, regardless of what she's told, like it's bad luck or so forth.
I mean, that's her sort of inherent rebellious punk spirit, right? It's like, well, society said you can't do this because it's superstitious, and she's, well, fuck that. I don't know who said that. And it just felt like a funny. So, humor is the most important thing for me, and it just felt like the right way to tie up that whole notion of the bangles becoming this sort of annoying thing weighing her down when they're supposed to be this sort of emblem of marital bliss, let's say.
The line about how Nepal is like, why can't you just be like other people?
Gopal, no, no,
Yeah.
Nopal is
Oh, I'm
cactus,
sorry,
no?
Nepal. Yes. Yeah, like he wants to follow, like some people just want to follow the norm, but not everyone is shaped and
No, I
formed.
mean, we're yeah, I mean, I don't think he's ever encountered anyone quite like her. And, being timid as he is, this is just, yeah, I think whether it's people or art that cut through the norms and the grain, they're always going to be met with resistance, good or bad.
And speaking of norms, she's definitely no normal woman or human. And you adding that spin, I don't want to say too much, but what made you want to make that huge spin in her character?
It's an intuitive process writing for me, so I land when I landed on it, it was like a kind of eureka moment. I was like, this just makes sense because without spoiling it for anyone who hasn't seen it, the film takes an archetype that you would generally, or we have only seen really in one specific type of genre, and I'm not interested in that genre, nor am I interested in, one genre claiming ownership of a certain character archetype. Um, because to me, once you strip that away, what she becomes, it's like the ultimate outsider, and it's also a very lonely existence. So yeah, that's my way of sort of um, reacting to, not wanting to follow a formula of a certain type of character archetype just because it's generally been displayed through one medium, which is horror, and I'm not interested in horror.
And now, one of the things I really enjoyed also was the score. Uh, the way that it kind of like it would be showing like something so serious, and you would think, "Oh my gosh," or in a shocking way. But yet, the music, just the way you brought that score, that's different, like rooting and excitement.
Yeah, I mean, juxtaposition is a beautiful thing. You can create new meaning by throwing things out of their ordinary context and smashing them against something else. And I'm quite into putting things together that shouldn't go together. And yeah, especially with like also, Paul Banks who did the score. Interpol's a band that if you listen to them, it's very emotional music. And it was interesting to get Paul to go in a different direction. I was like, if you're feeling like you wanted to lean into the emotion of the film, go the other direction and see what happens. And similarly with like the needle drops, it's all about trying to juxtapose till you can transcend the original meaning of something and create something new for the viewer.
And tell me about the shots. You had some really good shots, but a lot of them with Uma and walking, like felt like we're walking with her and feeling how she's feeling.
Yeah, I mean, again, the so many, repetition is a beautiful tool and can be a beautiful tool in art. Like, if you set something up and it sort of embeds itself in the audience's mind, and then once they're familiar with a certain trope you've used, you can then, like in music, start to introduce variations, and then new meanings and things happen. So I liked using the walks to show her sort of state of mind, which you've rightly picked up on, because again, so much in Radhika's performance, you can tell what I mean. Basically, it's you don't need a sentimental scene with the strings coming across to show she something her sadness. Just watching how she's dragging her feet, yet we're presenting ourselves the same, or the camera is presenting her how it's presented her three times previously on her walk to work. But every time you see her in that walk, something is different because she's carrying something else. And yeah, I don't know if I can intellectualize it further, but that's kind of what we were going for.
No, I loved it. Thank you so much. I hope a lot of
Thank you.
filmmakers take a lot of pointers out of your film. I mean,
Oh,
we need new cinema like this.
thank you. I don't think I reinvented the wheel, but it's kind of you to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.